Hi, how are you doing? So in my last video, we just kind of got into the concept, or we just briefly introduced the idea of what the additive inverse was. Oh, this is not working. There it goes. Oh, God, that's disgusting. Jeez, I could do better than that. I'm still getting used to this pen. Additive inverse, right? And we said, oh, and also absolute value. Absolute value, right? Now, they kind of correlate with each other in the sense that I like number lines. Let me draw a number line to describe, right? An additive inverse is basically the opposite of a number. That's essentially what you can think of it. Oh, jeez, man, I don't know what's going on here. Oh, you know what it was? I converted platforms. I'm no longer using the other program. I'm using OneNote, so the writing is different. So excuse that. So we're gonna say this is opposite. Opposite of a number, right? So if we pinpoint 3 on the number line, its additive inverse is essentially -3. And what that means, again, is saying that the distance that 3 is from 0 is 3 units, right? And the distance that the distance that -3 is from 0 is also 3 units. Right? So that's where this idea of additive inverse comes into play. So if I were to say I want to add, say 5. Oh, what happened right there? Again, this is sloppy. Sorry about that, you guys. But hopefully this gets the message across. So 5 plus 3, we all know is 8, right? But conceptually, what does that mean? What does it look like in this context? So if I take 5 units, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, right? So if I take 5 units, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, this is 5 right here, right? I take that, highlight it, and now I'm going to add another 3. So here's from 5. I don't know what that was. Sorry, you guys. I'm going to add 3, right? So we get the distance of 8. 5, 6, 7. Oh, this is not 3 units. This is adding 3 units. 1, 2. Oh, this is a mess. Sorry. It's unmitigated mess, they call it. I'm going to erase this. Right? And I'm going to redo this. I'm going to do something a little bit simpler. So I'm going to say 5. Just pretend these are here, right? 6, 7, and 8. There we go. So we covered a total of 5 units. And we're going to add 3 more units. So 1, 2, 3, we get 8, right? So now, what about 5 minus 3, right? We know that, again, not so bad as 2. But this is where that idea comes in, and this is going to lead into something. So we have 5, right? Actually, let me make that just a little bit, let me expand that, right? Again, I'm still getting used to this, so excuse me, you guys. So we're going to say 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So we said 5 units here. We're going to cover a distance of 5 units, right? Here we go. And then we have to subtract a distance of 3. So 1, 2, 3. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So from 5, we're subtracting 3. 1, 2, and 3. And so we kind of land ourselves up back at the value, or at 2, right? Alright? At n equals 2. So, I'm going to shade that in. I'm going to get better at this, I promise. Now, what does it mean to say that we're subtracting a negative number? Right? We know 2 negatives make a positive, right? These come together, and plus 3 equals to 8. But we're going to kind of, it's harder to grasp this concept So I'm going to try to explain as best as possible just to understand, because it was giving a few of the students trouble in understanding this, especially in the initial stages of mathematics, learning math. It's really hard. So I'm going to take it from here, right? We are going to introduce the additive inverse into this kind of concept, right? What we said was that we took 5 units, right, and subtracted 3 from it, or we said I'm going to continue this 5 units, right, and added the negative inverse, or the additive inverse of 3, because remember we said that the additive inverse is described or denoted here. We'll use 3 here. The additive inverse of 3 is negative 3, right? The additive inverse of 3. So the additive inverse of negative 3 is simply its opposite, 3, right? So 5 plus minus 3. So again, what this is saying is that we are adding the additive inverse of 3, or the opposite of 3. Well, then we can also say that here, so that subtraction sign right here kind of, it mandates or gives, it's the primary, it's that underlying, it's what offers or lends that underlying characteristic that says that you're going to add the inverse, right? The additive inverse. So we're saying right here for this particular equation, right, or this expression, instead of saying 5 minus 3, we can say, well, we're adding the additive inverse. We're taking that subtraction sign, turning it into plus, and saying, adding the opposite of negative 3. What is the opposite of negative 3? Oh, that's ugly. It's just simply 3. I'm going to go back to the other program, you guys. I don't like this program. But at least I'm hoping to get the... What's going on there? Yeah, see? Jeez. This is bad. I'm just not used to this program. Okay, so we're adding that, and that equals to 8, right? I'm going to go over the only way we can kind of describe this in a physical essence is to say this. It's the only way I thought about it. I might be wrong, so please feel free to comment me and tell me how stupid I am if this is in any way inaccurate. Okay, so what I'm going to do is here. So if we have a ground level with a hole, right, and say this is say 3 units or 3 feet downwards. If I drop a ball, and say drop a ball from 5 feet, right, 5 feet, and it lands here, this is ground is equal to 0, then we simply have 5 feet covered, 5 units of distance covered, right, to land a 0. However, if I drop the ball at this point, it is covered 5 feet, right, and has went into the realm, or has went underground 3 feet, right? So we know that this 5 and 5, this is 5 feet covered to this point here, ground level, and then negative 3 feet more that it essentially has traveled because of the reference point. It essentially relies on this reference point of 0. We said the ground is 0, it went 5, so technically on the number line this would be negative 3, right? Negative 3 feet down. So we went 5 feet of distance plus negative 3 feet of distance, right? Or 3 more feet of distance downwards, right? That's what essentially is saying. Is going to give us 8 feet total that we've traveled, or that the ball has traveled. So again, don't confuse this as actually an operation, but what I'm saying is 5 feet down plus 3 feet more downwards, but passing that reference point of 0, which gives us 8 feet total. And that's feet right here. Again, I'm sorry about the sloppiness. Hopefully that helps, though. I gotta end it here. Thanks, you guys.